How's it going, guys? This is Avollon, and welcome back to the Nether in Avollon's world. Today, we're messing around with the new 1.25, 1.25? A little bit in the future there. 1.21.5. Will we ever get the 1.25? Not with the new drop system. Don't know. But I've gone ahead and collected all the new mob variants. No need to get the old ones because they're literally everywhere in my old chunks. But we got the cold variants over here for the chicken, the pig, and the cows, as well as we got two little bunnies because I couldn't resist them. Oh yeah, you forgot. One of them was a baby, but now they're both adults. The bunnies need more work. All right, they're cute and all, but like their pathfinding AI sucks now, and like you don't want to hurt them. Alright, you don't want to kill him to get the rabbit's foot. Who makes a bunny farm in 2025? No one, alright? You can't kill these guys. No, not allowed to. Over here we got all the warm variants of the cows, the pigs, and the chicken. Got some llamas over here, because why not? They were like all together. And two polar bears. I just found two polar bears. Alright. I don't have any polar bears. Don't ask any questions. So we're going to mess around with these guys later. The cold variants are going to head over to White Ridge because that's just the closest cold biome, even though it's a plains. It's right next to a mountain. Makes sense. The warm variants here behind me are all going to live in Solstice, but we're going to build the pens for them later. Don't ask where the llamas are going, or the polar bears, or the bunnies. Haven't figured that one out yet. Just kind of brought them here to have them. Got to figure out where they're going. But we're going to go over to the Cave of Creation to make a couple farms. Very simple, very basic farms. And I feel like I should show there's a new path. Just don't worry about the river, you'll see that next episode. But I built a new path to get into the Cave of Creation. And it looks very fancy, very nice. Because I wanted a walking path again here. I had one with a boat, and now we have a walking path, as well as the minecart track that we built ages ago, which is right here. And then, of course, I added another portal up here, because I did have a spot to grow the cherry trees, but now that we have the tree farm, now we have another portal. So the Cave of Creation is fully set up with every form of transportation you could ever possibly need. I was really hoping I wasn't going to land in that lava. But we got the desert grass, we've got the flower petals, we got a bush and a firefly bush, and the cactus flowers. All simple farms, but you know, gotta make them first. They ain't gonna do anything unless we make them. Alright, so step one is done. Flower petals, which I'm putting right next to the pink petals, because they're like pretty much the same thing, but they just literally do that. And then we get all the flower petals, or wildflowers. I thought they were flower petals, but no. Wildflowers. Okay, alright. Proving me wrong. On camera, that's fine, Minecraft. It's not like you do that all the time. And we'll just kind of do something like that, and then we'll just kind of, boom. Ta-da. Beautiful. We need one more thing. We need to get 2 item frames. They're not glowing item frames, but these will do for now. And we can do that and that, and just drop those over there. And ta-da! Wildflowers are complete. And check out the list. And that's not where you belong. And that's not where you belong. Super simple farm. No other better place to put it than next to the other petal flower thing. You know, how many of these are they gonna add? Because the leaf litter is exactly the same thing, just leaves. Pesky little Enderman, I see you down there. Put that grass block back. Where did you get it? Hi, you can't get up here. What are you gonna do? You just gonna stay down there? Be mad? Yeah, that's all you're gonna do. That's what you get for stealing my grass blocks. Put it back, then I won't be mad at you. Oh, we have a very simple firefly bush farm. Just do that, and we're done. That's literally it. We don't even need any shears, nothing. And they all go in the chest. Well, most of them. And this will cover my firefly bush needs. I also built this nice little catwalk, boardwalk, path, something. I'm not entirely sure what it would be. But I also connected it up to the nether portal and down here, because I thought it just kind of looked weird with this one ending, that one ending, and that one ending. You know, it just makes sense to combine them together. So now we're gonna make a bush, which I might put up here, and the desert grass. Where to put the desert grass? That's the question. Slightly different design, but same functionality. Hit this. This time you need shears or silk touch, and you just go down. You get all the bush. Oh, is that what it's called? It's bush. But that's not getting picked up, and I don't know why. Okay, whatever. But there's hoppers underneath each of the muds. There's a hopper there, so it should be going to just, I don't know why it's not. But I also reworked the Firefly bush over here, so we can do the exact same thing. And so you're getting stuck too. I don't know why the mud should allow the items to be picked up. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, it's not like that big of a deal. I won't be using it all too often. As for the desert grass, figured out where it's going, right there, and that'll pretty much finish this top section up, whatever we want to call it, if it really needs a name. I'm not entirely sure, but desert grass. We have a slightly different design for that, because we want both the short and tall versions, so it gets a little bit more complicated. We need to be able to toggle between the two, so it's not more complicated. It's like one extra dispenser and another lever. You know, that's about it. Well, pardon the noise, but I figured out why it's not getting picked up when the hopper gets locked. Because I got the redstone running on top of a block right next to it. So once we put this back in here, that should allow it to work and function just as intended. Easy solution. Sometimes I forget that hoppers can be locked if a block is powered right next to it. Gotta use those apps. Okay, so not desert grass, but I made some slight redesigns to the Pink Petal and Wildflower farms to have mud and a hopper into a chest, so I don't have to manually pick up the items and they can't go anywhere. They're just going to be in that block and be picked up by a hopper. And I now have a bone meal chest, so it's a little bit more efficient than it was before. You know, we could get super fancy and run a bone meal farm directly into it and have it running all the time and shut off automatically, but you know, that's a lot of work, and let's be honest, when am I gonna ever, like, I'm gonna use these, but like, that often, like, this is pink and this is yellow dye, I can get those relatively easily with my flower farms, so not really a necessity, but would be something maybe in the future if we get bored, maybe sometime. You should not exist here. Excuse me, kind sir. That shouldn't be an option. Alright. There shouldn't be an option for you to spawn literally anywhere. Alright. I know we got some 1 light levels, but I ain't seen anything. What the heck? I thought I went through with this when I first started this project ages ago. And apparently, oh, yep, there's a 0 right there. There's the culprit. Mobs can spawn right here. I missed a spot. This is a desert grass farm, right? That's what they're called. Short dry grass, not desert grass. What am I talking about? So, simply put, this is a design made by Rayworks. Again, I believe he's the one who made the resin farm from the last episode. Super simple. Automates like everything in the game. Pardon the noise, but we activate it. So this will activate both dispensers, and we can just chill back here and just chill. We need a shears or a silk touch pickaxe in order to pick everything up. I have noticed though that even though it's supposed to get picked up, items do get stuck here. Is that my design again? That the things are getting powered by something? I don't know. But we have the tall dry grass and the short dry grass. And then if we want to get just the short, we just power that dispenser. And that means that we will only get the shorts because that dispenser will not be firing. And then we can turn that off because it's not obnoxious, and we get the short. So we can get both, and apparently you can get like 18,000 items or whatever, or something an hour if you just sat here and AFK'd and some bone meal stuff. And this chest is here that block the items, but I believe if I were to take that, take that, take that, take that, take that, just because I don't want that down there, do that, that, and that. Drop down an ender chest. Fixing a problem on camera. If we were to directly run you into you, right? That should, in theory, solve any issues we have. And then we can just, you know, okay. And you didn't see that. You saw none of that. We did that. We put that back in there. And now, when we activate this, none of the items should get stuck anywhere, because there should be hoppers across every point, so we shouldn't have to collect any of the items. And this uses double bone meal, but it seems to have fixed our problem, right? Okay, well, hoppers can't keep up entirely, but boom, we have the dry grass. This is our dry grass farm. May not be the prettiest, but it works, and it will supply us for everything we need for solstice, because every other desert should have the dry grass already. It's strange how you can't bone meal sand, but, you know, it kind of makes sense at the same time. I don't know. Odd thing. Would be cool if you could just bone meal the sand. Boom. There's dry grass. But nope. Gotta bone meal the dry grass. Alright, so there should be one last thing we need to make for a farm for all the new 1.21.5 items, and that should be, if I can find one, this cactus flower right here. Now this is a really interesting block, because in order to not break existing cactus farms, which have existed for like literally forever, you know, not entirely sure if they existed when cactus was first added, but cacti, but you know, they've been around forever, and to not break them, the cactus flower, in order to spawn, needs an air block on each side of it, whereas the cactus does not. And, you know, if it has a block next to it, it breaks, yada yada. So it makes it farming a very bit of a difficult task, but there is a simple AFK farm that we can just have running constantly in our world, and we need to put that somewhere that we're going to constantly be. So when I AFK in this area now, I AFK in my AFK shack right here. So I am actually going to tear down some structures over in the ruined area here, because these bits here don't really line up with any of the rest of the area. We've got some bulldozers and industrial equipment, and it doesn't really fit the theme that I'm going for the rest of the world. I kind of built these like ages ago, literal years, just because I wanted to, and I needed to fill in the space. It was the ruined area. Kind of the theme was, you know, the factory game men. These were the equipment to clear the path. So I'm going to at least tear down this one, maybe tear down this one, and maybe put two and one over here. I don't know. We're going to put a couple of these just to maximize our efforts, because you can put the cactus flower on anything, I believe, just not, you know, it's not only cacti. So, you know, we definitely want to be able to use it, and in order to farm it, we need to set up this AFK farm. So, phantoms, yeah, I need to clear out this space first before I get my face eaten by phantoms. So, as I tear this down, we kind of have to stick with the theme, though, because this is a ruined area, so we can't just make this big giant structure, or just, you know, have anything. We're gonna have to make it look run down and decrepit, and, you know, like, it's a ruin, which is a good, interesting challenge. You know, it's one of the reasons why I named this the ruin area, is just because, you know, you can make the ruin. Obviously, the tree farm isn't ruined anymore, but it was, so maybe, you know, the lore could be, you know, as time went on, this got less ruined area and more developed, maybe, because, I mean, we have a fully fledged TNT tree farm and a turtle farm behind us, so it could very well be that, you know, slowly and surely whoever got this land is improving it and making it not ruined and more industrial, I guess is the right word to call it. Kind of feels bad tearing down these really cool bulldozers when I'm pretty sure they weren't my designs. Definitely didn't come up with these. You know, I'm not that creative when it comes to coming up with industrial equipment in Minecraft, I guess. Maybe we can fit 2 or 3, maybe 4. I don't know how big these are. I mean, we need some space because we need a double piston extender. That's all I know. So we have 4 different modules set up here, all exactly the same, all designed by more Tings on YouTube. I hope I'm saying that right. but it is a very simple design, and the cactus flower is unique to not like, the cactus farms. We can't have anything surrounding the cactus, so we have to use a double piston extender to detect and push off the cactus or cactus flower. Now, unfortunately, we have no cactus flowers yet, but we do have some cacti in some of these chests, so we know at least it is working to a certain extent. It's just a matter of just letting it sit here and get a cactus flower, which is why I am going to AFK overnight to ensure that these work before I, start decorating this, because it would suck to decorate it and then, oh, it doesn't work, And maybe we build more, we can go down. There's plenty of space below us, so we can add in more modules if need be. Who knows? I have no idea how efficient or how often these cactus flowers spawn. Well, I had to make more of them, and we slightly changed up my plans for this area. I built one little tiny ruin here, nothing too fancy, who knows what it was, not even I know, but it's a ruin, and I decided to throw in some glow lichen, some of the, pale hanging moss, is that what it's called? Yep, first time using that outside of the pale garden. Then over here, I was gonna make another giant ruin, but, we have a factory right here, and, people need a place to park their horses if they're traveling outside of Solstice, so this is the perfect spot to put a little horse stable. It's mud. It's a very, very basic horse stable with no horses in it yet, but got a little overgrown path leading to a rundown dock. It is the ruin area, so I still wanted to add some ruins. And this little thing here is where our cactus flowers and bone meal are coming in, because I have moved the modules to the underground here. Because let's be honest, they didn't look the greatest and the work around them. It's just easier to put it underground. I also made 6 more of them because the amount of cactus flowers we were getting with 4, not the greatest. So now we have 5 on each side. We might be losing some cacti and maybe the cactus flowers off on the side. That's honestly okay. It's the same module, by the way, but we run it into a water stream. We have the cacti being picked up by an item filter. That'll compost it into bone meal because we don't need a cacti farm. We already have a cacti farm. I'm just going to take that back because once I put the grass here, I'm never coming back down here again. So all I got to do is cover this up and make it look a little bit nicer, but this is where all the cactus flower, and we'll occasionally get some bone meal out of it. It is right next to the tree farm, so, it'll be a nice, simple way of getting some bone meal. But I've done some other stuff in things. I added this nice little dock over here, so if there's any boats or ships coming from the Ocean Monument or White Ridge, which would have to come from this direction, they can dock here instead of going directly to the Solstice. As well as I don't know if anybody remembers, but this used to all be at, this level here. Yeah, I mined all that down. It was processed, but it looks 10 times better. Eventually, at some point, I used to use, the leaves glowstone underneath it. That was before the moss carpet existed. The moss carpet has existed for years now at this point. I just haven't gone through and, covered each and every single one of these with a piece of moss. I do have the farm. There's absolutely no reason for me to not do it, but, just coming in here, okay, that's a light, okay, so everything's good to go, and it just looks a little overgrown, which is exactly what it needs to be. We'll get all the cactus flowers and bone meal. I guess you could say it's kind of like a, feeder or something for the horses, I don't know, but I got a mess to clean up, but then I'd say this area is pretty much done. Other thing I did was I went ahead and bone mealed a whole bunch of area over here, because this was all pre 1.13 terrain over here, so it was just bare. Some of you might remember that. And I removed the ugly, whatever you want to call it, thing on top of the witch farm, because tinted glass exists for years now at this point too. But now we can make this look more like a ruin and make it look 10 times better than just a big giant thing that was preventing the light from getting in, so the farm would work during the day. But now it looks better. And I made some slight improvements to some roofs and everything. I've just been doing some miscellaneous bits and bobs in the meantime you know, I get carried away, I do this thing, do that thing, and then I get carried away talking. So let's go continue. Let's go work with the new animals, because they need a home. Speaking of their home, the original plan was to put some in White Ridge, some over here in Solstice, but the problem is I have no idea how big the pyramid is going to be in Solstice. I don't want to start building anything on this side until the pyramid is done. So yeah, Solstice is going to be waiting for that pyramid. Where are we putting the animals? Well, we could put them in this nice barn here. Ain't big enough. We're going to be building another farm over in this giant section that I've cleared out here. Originally it was going to be a theme park. Now I'm going to make it a farm. A bunch of fields, like a... Why are you still here? Are you persistent? Why are you persistent? A bunch of fields, a windmill, you know, a bunch of stuff. Farmhouse. But what better place to put all the new mob variants, there's a pig back there, than at this big giant farm. And this is where we're going to put it. Right over here. Somewhere. With a giant barn with a couple pens. I mean, we got to make some for chicken, cows, and pigs. So we got a lot of work to do yet. I ain't doing the entire farm today. Just the barn for the... So I may or may not have gotten carried away and built all the pens and a nice barn for all our nice new animals to reside in. The thing we need yet is a path, but you know, don't want to do everything off camera. Get a nice barn using the pale oak and mangrove woods with some texturing. Not my idea, I found that online. The built my idea. That took some inspiration from some pictures for pretty much everything. That's all you gotta do. If you don't have any idea, because you know, building farm animal shelters is not like something I've done before. So I googled images of them, looked at them like, all right, cool inspiration, and make them my own. That's what you do. So the barn is quite expansive. It only has 2 pens for something. We'll might put the llamas in there, to be honest. But we got some barrels, some hay. Up the staircase, though, we got Milo and Otis, a older movie, I think from 1989, The Adventures of Milo and Otis. I've had these animals forever, and I've been meaning to build a barn forever. So, you know, now they have a barn, because they lived in a barn in the beginning. So, now we got Milo and Otis up in the loft in the barn. Can I get down through here? I can, look at that. Across the way from the barn, we have what will be the cow pen, and I have 2 designated spots because there's 2 different cow variants. Again, we're not focusing on the already existing variants because they're everywhere, and I got other farms for them. But I like the way it turned out. I've been using a lot of these like flower pot designs on the sides of the buildings just to give more color and depth and texture. And yeah, so we'll have to put the cows in there. Over here, we've got the pig pen, which is a very basic and simple design. Now they're sharing a pen because I could build 2 of these, but I have no idea where else I put it. And to be honest, I think it looks fine itself, and the pigs are fairly similar. One of them's tan, one of them's orange. It's been a hot minute since I've been back to another to look at them. Over here, we got chicken coops. Both the same design, more flowers on the side. However, these ones actually have a functionality that there are hoppers underneath that lead into barrels. So at least the chickens that are out here laying eggs, their eggs will be collected if we ever need them. So this is the start of the farm area, which I need a name for. But the only thing left to do now is actually to add a path, because we don't just want to walk on plain grass, and I am going to do something different besides the path blocks. You know, I've been using those literally forever. We are going to be using what's in this short box: packed mud, brown mushroom blocks, and root dirt. Something different with slabs to spruce slabs to get up the blocks. But I'm gonna try something. Hopefully it turns out pretty good. It's literally gonna follow the same like pathway design, but just with different materials instead of the path blocks that I always use. You know, gotta challenge yourself. And there's zombies down here somewhere. I gotta find those guys. If they're gonna be a problem. I also added this nice archway. Don't know if I showed that, but this path is the path that leads to White Ridge, so this would be a direct way for whoever is in charge of the farm to export their goods directly to White Ridge or off to Solstice. So, path making time. So I also added a little pond over here with some fish in it. There's a beehive with some bees, some shrubs, firefly bushes, and all the things, because I had no idea what else to do with this area. And you know, it's a nice little pond that the farmer might have just put there with some fish. I think what I'm gonna do is transfer the animals over though first, so that way at least the chickens, they can start laying eggs, because find those cold chickens, my goodness. It's been a long time. Left them alone for a second. Fox came up, killed them. Killed all my chickens. So, yeah, we need to start getting a surplus of those eggs in case a random fox just appears again, which shouldn't, but, you know, you never. Thankfully, though, transporting them animals, mobs, whatever you want to call them, is going to be relatively simple because we have a portal that I had made for the dogs on it. And all I should have to do is just transport them through there and put them into their designated pens, which is going to be the harder part because I think I only have like one fence gate. I might have to break some blocks to get them in there, but yeah, this is going to be the fun part. These really are some cool chickens. Get it? These are the cool chickens, the cool chickens. Okay, alright, What's this cat doing? Oh, okay, sorry. I'll leave you be. Well, all the mobs are in their pens, the path is in place, and I added some extra decorations just to spice the place up a little bit, as well as try to light it all up. I got some firefly bushes going off in the distance, just because I think it's a nice little ambient sound, and, you know, you get the particle effects. I mean, it is a farm. Fireflies would be all over that, right? Maybe? I don't know. But I decided to go with this nice path here. I think it turned out pretty good. And then I have a moss border around it. That's mostly for hidden lighting. And just to kind of give a nice transition into the grass, since it is the birch forest grass. Now I'm showing you this at night, just so you can see the nice lighting and everything. We are actually going to just quickly hop in a bed that's floating and hopefully not get attacked by anything. So that way we can show it to you in the daytime. I have a couple of these things. You could say they're flowers. You could put flowers in them, but I think they're more like planter boxes in a way. And we got some hanging vines here with the glow berries. And overall, I think this place looks really good, and I'm super excited to continue it. You just died. In the future, because we got different plans for next episode, but maybe the next episode we'll come back over here and finish off the farm using some of the wildflowers, which I think look really cool. I don't know why there's just one. I'm not getting any bushes. I don't know if maybe the birch forest doesn't give you the bush. Maybe it's just the plains that does when you bone meal it, so I've been putting the bushes down, but from above, this place actually looks pretty cool so far, and I can't wait to see what the finished product is. But all the animals are in there. The pigs are just having a good old time in the, water bin, which is actually kind of ironic because that's probably what they would do in real life. The chickens are... Oh, hi. I'm like, where did you shoot me from? Could you, not... Yeah. There you go. Possibly not have me shoot one of my pigs. That'd be great. So we got the chickens are doing good. Yeah, we are losing out on some eggs, and I could probably, figure out a way, but let's be honest, how many eggs do I need? This place is looking pretty good so far, and I am super inspired to continue it and continue this inspiration in next episode, because that's where we're gonna call it for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely have. We did a lot of fun stuff with the new 1.21.5 features, not the 1.25 features, alright? And we're going to continue that next episode too. So, let me know in the comments what you think of the path and the border around it. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below, because I'm open to suggestions. I'm not completely sold on the moss, but I think it looks pretty good so far. So, without further ado, guys, I will catch you guys in the next one. Farewell.